Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your May forecast for Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising, and Gemini Moon. You are represented by the Page of Swords and Justice. So you may be trying to figure out something, trying to get some answers, maybe even doing some investigation or prying. You may be involved with a Libra person. But there are issues of loyalty where perhaps you're trying to figure out if you should turn your back on something. You're making a judgment and you want the focus to be what's fair, acting with integrity. It could be that somebody is in your life, perhaps your partner, and maybe they're not the most responsible person. Maybe they're even immature, and somehow they're impacting you negatively. You're having to make a choice about options. Now, for some of you, you may be involved in some kind of legal situation in connection to a partner. Maybe you're making decisions about how to split assets, or maybe you're getting a divorce. Maybe you're separating, or perhaps you're presented with two opportunities. And so part of what is in the process is some kind of negotiation, dialogue. And in fact, your conversations concerning your partner, with your partner, are going to determine how your relationship is playing out this month. In some cases, perhaps, you have this understanding. You get some clarity between the two of you about what's fair. In other cases, perhaps you are not on the best speaking terms, and the dialogue creates some form of estrangement where you decide to turn your back on a situation. Something may not be fair. So you are making some kind of judgment. You're taking perhaps somebody to task, or you're trying to figure out what's right in a situation. And others, your partner may be doing that as well. If you've done anything, some kind of indiscretion, some mistake that you made, your partner is surely going to point that out. But there is a desire to create some harmony, some inner peace, and perhaps you're turning your back on a situation to create that peace. And it seems to be tied to new love. There may be new love on the horizon, on the way, in the works. Maybe you're trying to create better peace within your relationship and take it in a new direction and create new love in the relationship. So you're trying to create some harmony. Maybe some of you are involved in a situation like a love triangle. And so you have to navigate how to keep the peace within both relationships. But you are trying to figure out, what's right, what's fair, perhaps with regard to somebody that may have been a friend and the possibility of a romance with this person. Now, your partner is represented by the Death card and the Knight of Pentacles. So there's some major changes taking place with your partner. Perhaps this person has had some financial difficulties, or perhaps their income is renewed in some way. But there is a definite end to some aspect. This person, again, may be bringing some type of transformation to the relationship, to you. They may be reinventing themselves. There's the desire to regenerate, but the first process is to purge something, to cut off the dead wood, anything that's not working. And your partner doesn't want to be involved in a situation that has any kind of uncertainty to it. Your partner's looking for a steady, reliable, secure situation. And so anything that feels like it's not growing, or it's stagnant, or confining, or uncertain, your partner doesn't want any part of that. Now, this may center around some intense situations. They may be crisis-oriented, very stressful. Maybe they center on sexuality, or getting in touch psychologically inside, or perhaps some issue related to shared property, assets, especially with this Justice card here. Maybe there's the splitting of some kind of large sums of money. And with the Knight of Pentacles, perhaps your partner is moving slowly with regard to that. This is the slowest Knight in the deck. For some of you, there may be a tie to an earth sign person or a Scorpio person. So there are some intense issues where your partner wants to make some progress. And there are also some issues, again, surrounding loyalty, devotion. And your partner's looking at what they value and what they need to hold on to, what they need to change, what they need to let go of. Your partner is, questioning perhaps your loyalty, or you're questioning their loyalty, because this could indicate a secret love affair. And so naturally, issues of fidelity are in the forefront. Could also be whether somebody's getting the support that they want, or whether something is slow to arrive. And there's a dream, perhaps, that this person is slowly working toward, and perhaps they've found a solution. Maybe it has even come to them in their dreams, or they're dreaming of a solution. But a solution is at hand. Some kind of answer to a challenge is imminent. It's on the horizon. And it may have to do with the release of some funds, or something tied to land or real estate. It could be something that has come up that it has been hidden. Somebody may have, trying to find out something and dug deeply and come up with some kind of discovery. So you're trying to make steady progress, being responsible, your partner is. And the romance is characterized by this Lovers and the Queen of Pentacles. So again, we have this issue of perhaps outside interference weighing in on your romance. Perhaps a third party, maybe it's fate, maybe it's an actual person. It may be tied to an earth sign person, or somebody connected to business, real estate, wealth. There's a partnership at stake here. And with the Lovers card, one of you maybe is at a popularity peak. Somebody is wanting your time, your attention. And maybe you're having to make a decision about who to give that to, or how to split work versus your personal life. This is a queen who manages, she organizes, she plans. And that may be important. Important decisions or choices that tie to business, real estate, planning, organizing, growing a family, nurturing the relationship, or a decision about whether somebody's only focus is on the financial. So there's a crossroads here where you're having to make a choice concerning this relationship. And you're faced with two paths or two opportunities that will take you in very different directions. Again, this Justice card, a choice, a balance, where issues of loyalty and devotion are at stake. Now, this queen is very good at nurturing, growing things. She's supportive. She creates a stable atmosphere. She's a solid person. She makes you feel comfortable and safe. And in fact, you may feel like taking this partnership to the next level because of her ability to make you feel secure. And I'm speaking in terms of gender, but this is just representing traits. So there's something about a partnership where you may feel secure about taking it to the next level because you share the same goals, the same life vision, the same viewpoint. But in other cases, you're going to have a direct dialogue. Perhaps one of you, your ambition is getting in the way of the relationship, or the desire to manage or overmanage is impacting your partnership, because this is a queen who can take over. She starts to manage her children's lives, her partner's lives, her neighbors' lives, and she may make decisions that aren't really hers to make that impact the partnership. So you may feel as if somebody's taking over, or you may be doing that with the other person. And so there's the need to have a direct conversation, because one of you may be in people please mode and it's really not fair. Somebody's trying to be everything to this other person when that's just not possible. So the sooner you or your partner gets clear on who you are, what you can do, what your limitations are, what you're willing to do for the other person, the relationship will seem to flow much better. But there's also a shadow element. Something is hidden, and again, perhaps there's some infidelity or something surrounding finances. Something is not in view. Somebody may be dealing with the shadow part of themselves. There could be somebody doing some stalking, and I'm speaking of social media, trying to find out what somebody is doing. And this person may be, at a distance, or they're stalking from a distance. It may tie to do with, traveling somewhere else, or a relationship that suddenly took off, maybe too quickly, a whirlwind relationship that became out of control. For others of you, this may have to do with taking a trip or a vacation with your partner, and maybe, somebody needs to make choices about what their priorities are with regard to that. This could also be the need to go the distance with a partner because of some kind of difficult situation. The problem, though, is, again, something is hidden. Something is not in view. Somebody is prone to deception, whether it's deception between you and your partner or somebody is deceiving themselves. There, again, are issues connected to what makes you feel secure, what makes you feel safe and protected. And one of you may be grappling with some form of addiction, something that is unhealthy. You also have the devil here. So a compulsion, an addiction. You may be making some kind of transformation that involves an emotional or psychological breakthrough. There's something going on where perhaps there's some secrets. Maybe this is a secret romance. Maybe it's a sexual relationship. Something is hidden from view, but if you or your partner has kept something hidden, this is a time where that's likely to come to the forefront. It's likely to be revealed, and that may not be a pleasant situation. And it's also possible that you're going to hear something negative, and you sense that intuitively, or your partner does. And in fact, you may be hearing some bad news shortly about a situation. Perhaps it's a legal situation. Maybe it's the infidelity, or, whether somebody's loyal, or there's some financial issues. And it may affect either of you on a physical level because of the stress of what's taking place. You could also be doing a lot of projecting in this relationship because you're focused on the past conditioning, childhood patterns, things that may be ingrained and you don't realize it, and you're playing it out again in your relationship. Some of you, this does tie to travel. And there's some form of restriction, perhaps a delay, a challenge, an obstacle. You may be dealing with extra responsibilities. Again, there could be some fear, some pessimism, some cynicism, and also some kind of temptation. It's easy for you to give in to some kind of petty temptation, or your partner. So this is a time where you have to be vigilant about something and not avoid issues and obligations that have to be dealt with. The Devil card says that you're at risk here, again, for falling prey to some kind of obsession, temptation, problem. And you're going to have to really look at what your motives and your intentions are, and that of your partner or those you're involved with. This is a time where you have that psychological and intuitive edge to know what's really going on. Somebody is saying something, but what is the motive behind that? What is the intention? And you can take that power and use it in a manipulative form, because this says that you've got a silver tongue right now. You can talk anybody into anything, even yourself. And so you may do something that is not quite honorable and convince yourself that you had to do it because of certain circumstances, or your partner may do that. And it ties to whether perhaps you should move forward with something or move onward. And ego is wrapped up in it. Something may have triggered your ego. Or perhaps you're deciding to have some kind of emotional breakthrough where you move past your ego and move forward to overcome a problem. The underlying influence is this Eight of Swords. So perhaps you feel trapped, or one of you does, as if you can't move forward. There's some kind of dilemma, responsibility, challenge, delay that you feel you can't overcome. There's no obvious resolution or answer, and maybe you're going round and round in circles about the same issues. Maybe you're experiencing some kind of blockage, but this is saying that you're holding yourself back. There's some kind of test or challenge, and once you figure that out, you're free to walk through. And so maybe you're blocking your intuition, your emotions, you're repressing something, maybe you don't have information, or you're blinding yourself to what's obvious. And it's also problematic that something is occurring in such a way that you're not prepared for it. It drops in your lap at the last minute, and you have to deal with it. And possibly because somebody waited until the last moment to address the issue. Whether that's you or the partner, somebody is now having to upend their schedule, their priorities, their agenda in order to deal with something that should have been dealt with on the front end. And there's going to be some kind of illumination through a message. Perhaps you're going to send this message, perhaps you're going to receive it, or your partner. And it ties to do with a love sentiment, an invitation, an expression. This could be likely written, internet, a letter, document, email, could be a phone call, but an illuminating message about where you have been trapped or what's been problematic, where you've been going in a circle. Or maybe you get a last minute message that comes in, and you have to try to figure out and make a choice about what's fair. Your advice is, I endure the thorn to acquire the rose, which means that you're going to have to deal with something uncomfortable to get to that place you want to get to. You want that rose, but you may get cut in the process trying to get to it. And if you're not prepared to deal with it, you might just want to get out of the garden. The outcome is the Nine of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. So somebody is waiting for something, and maybe these are frustrating. This is a frustrating wait. One of you planted the seeds, you're waiting for it to grow. You're not sure whether you can give up. Maybe it's slow going, and you're not sure if what you've invested is really going to yield a return. And the issue could be that you wait too long and nothing is going to come of it, or that you give up too quickly and you give up too soon. So you're really having to take stock of your partnerships, the investment that you've put in it, and what you're getting out of it. It may be worth it to endure a little bit longer to get what you want. It may also have to do with waiting for some property, waiting for, to become self-sufficient, maybe self-employed. And so you may be trying to figure out what's fair as far as money, splitting assets, responsibilities, because the other person or you is waiting to bolster your financial situation. It could also be, you're waiting on a mistress. This is the card that represents somebody that, perhaps there's a secret crush, somebody that you admire for all of their qualities. They're attractive, they're intelligent, they're witty. They are self-possessed, and you want a piece of that. But this could also be somebody that you can't get to. Maybe you feel like they're out of your league, or vice versa, or they're unavailable. They may already be attached, or they may be satisfied with their own company. You may be waiting to be single. Your partner may be waiting to be single. Your partner may be waiting to become, for you to become self-sufficient, or vice versa. You may be waiting to connect to somebody you admire that thus far has been unavailable to you. But this is also a card that says, for some of you, maybe you're waiting to retire, to spend more time with your partner. This is having the money, the time to spend leisurely, to do as you please, to do what you want. And you may be waiting on that, an investment, some kind of return that's going to allow you to kick back and relax and do what you want. For others of you, this is about, whether somebody is having a sense of gratitude. There are issues of pride and courtesy here, whatever that means to you. Somebody's seeking appreciation, and they may feel like they're not getting it, that they're receiving a cold response, or they're out in the cold. And in fact, ultimately, this may be about appreciation for something, where one of you doesn't feel something is fair, somebody's not loyal, there could be issues of infidelity or something surrounding money, and somebody feels that they're out in the cold with regard to something, and you may not even be speaking. Maybe you're involved in a cold war where either of you are aloof or detached, because this Nine of Pentacles is somebody who's very self-contained. They're happy with their own company. And you may not feel as if somebody is bothering to make you feel like you're important. Or one of you, again, may be involved in a love triangle and somebody is left out in the cold. Now, some of you, if this is playing out negatively, there could be some unkind accusations, some gossip, some rumors that you're having to contend with. And they may not be fair. And they may not be pretty. They're rather unkind, and you're having to deal with that, and your response may be to strike back. The Death card is here, and it represents Scorpio, and there's some vindictiveness attached, perhaps. There's some secretiveness, and there's this underlying feeling of vengeance. I really want to get back at you for what you did. And so there's the desire to strike back, but that's not the best approach. You should be making an assessment of how you're seeking amusement and entertainment, and is it costing you somehow? Because you may recklessly get involved in a situation that you find amusing, or you fall prey to a temptation and it comes back to bite you somehow. So it ends up costing you more than it's worth. So you're making an assessment. You're waiting for some answers. And you're having to look at what your investment is. Now, you have 5 major cards here. 5 major cards. So this is going to be an especially significant month for you, emotionally, spiritually. One of the ways for you to move through situations is to call upon the keys for these major cards. So with the Justice card, that means that you're going to have to act with integrity. You're going to have to be above board, above the law. You're going to have to do things to the letter of the law. And you can get into trouble when you become reckless or, arrogant in some way. Now, the Death card says there's a need to regenerate some aspect of this relationship. Some changes need to be made, where either you try to revitalize, repair, improve, or let go of some aspect of your life. You can fall prey to stagnancy, where nothing is moving, nothing is growing. There's no growth in this relationship or for either of you personally. And with the Lover's card, you're going to have to understand how to use the power of charisma and magnetism that either of you may hold right now. Are you using it to exploit, to simply get what you want? Or are you using it in ways that make your partner feel good or make the other person feel loved and cherished? The Moon card says that there's something hidden, some pattern of conditioning, and you need to be vigilant about addressing issues rather than avoiding those. And the Devil card requires that you do it with decency, again, with integrity, and that you're not exploiting the vulnerabilities of another person, and that you're not allowing yourself to become vulnerable to some form of petty temptation. So this is a month of challenging developments. and some kind of dilemma that you're facing where there's some uncertainty. Two choices. You may be at odds with someone, you may be in mediation, arbitration, you may be the instigator of some kind of conflict, or your partner may be, but you may be at a stalemate, an impasse about what is fair, what is right. Or you may decide to call a truce and end the struggle, but there's a sense of what should you do? Should I wait to see how this tide turns? Should I make a decision? What is this decision going to cost? I made the decision, now I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you're repressing your emotions, your intuition, you're turning your back on a truth, not facing the truth, or you simply don't have all of the truth because it's hidden. And it has to do with a sense of security, maybe an opportunity that you need to cautiously explore, or maybe where somebody's being very territorial or possessive, either with assets or with the relationship. There could be jealousy, selfishness, greed, too much conservatism. Maybe there are fears in this relationship, pessimism. And maybe somebody's trying to control by protecting their heart or their assets or their words of love or support. There's some withholding. And maybe somebody's being overly cautious. Now, maybe you should be very protective. You should be prudent. But you have to make sure that you don't become stagnant or stuck in a particular way of thinking. This is not wanting to rock the boat and therefore perhaps no forward movement. And again, it may tie with issues surrounding wealth or dealing with investments, bankers, money, stocks, property. But although this is a love reading, there are no cups in this reading. So there's some insensitivity here. There is some coldness, some frigidity. Maybe people aren't speaking. Maybe there's no love being shown. Maybe it's all about the money. Or somebody feels like it is. Maybe there's a love triangle. But there's a lack of sensitivity, a coldness, an aloofness to a problem or a person. And it could be that somebody has decided that they are going to use their mind. They're not going to be in touch with their heart. They're going to use logic. That may serve you or it may work against you. There's also a lack of motivation. Perhaps there's a lack of desire. Perhaps, again, maybe this is surrounding sexual issues. Maybe there's a lack of motivation. There's some kind of apathy. Something is not moving because there's not enough fire or impetus to get it going. So again, there's some challenging developments surrounding ambitions. And it centers around partnerships, how you deal with others in relationship and how you allow yourself to be dealt with. Is it self-defeating? Is it destructive? Is it positive? Is it supportive? You're also making decisions that have to do with the future, opportunities that could potentially change your life, that impact your destiny, your life path, and the people that influence that. And you're dealing with a situation that could change your perspective on life. That means that you're going to have to tie up some loose ends first, but you have the opportunity for new horizons, dealing with the past in order to meet your future. All right, Gemini, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to subscribe and touch that notify bell. Make some positive changes in your relationship. Let's create a love revolution.